Good morning, guys. This week, our vocabulary strategy is called Shades of Meaning. So, when we think about shades of meaning, it's almost like we're talking about synonyms. So, if you remember, a synonym is a word that two words that are different but might mean the same thing. So small and little. Night and dark. Big and tall. Those kinds of things are synonyms. So words that are kind of the same or have the same meaning but are different words. So shades of meaning involve synonyms. They involve words that seem kind of the same, but when you actually look at the real definition, they could be very different. So if we talked about like the word happy and then overjoyed, so those two things kind of mean the same thing, happy and overjoyed, but happy is kind of a basic word that we would use to describe how we're feeling. You can be happy by getting a new pencil or happy with having a day off from school. But overjoyed still means happy, but overjoyed is like a bigger, we would use this when we're like really happy, like something amazing has happened. So a little bit different than happy, still kind of a synonym, but overjoyed would be used in like a different context. You wouldn't just always use overjoyed, like I'm overjoyed to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You might use I'm happy, because it's not like something super special, but still creates that happy feeling. So when we look in our first example, we have peek, look, and stare. So a lot of people would think that these are synonyms because they're very similar. You're using your eyes to do all three of these, but each one is kind of, the way you would use it is different. So if I said blink both ways carefully before crossing the street, I wouldn't really say stare both ways carefully before crossing the street because that doesn't really make sense. But I would say look. I'm not really sure I would say peek both ways, because peek means that you're just looking a little bit. And if we're talking about crossing the street, we need to do more than just peek. We need to stop and look. Mom let me blink quickly at the birthday cake. So again, I'm not really sure I would use stare. Mom let me stare quickly, because staring requires you to like gain focus with your eyes for a long period of time. And if it's quickly, then that means it didn't happen very quickly. You could use look, Mom let me look quickly, but when we're talking about like she let me look like just really quickly, like that's catching, like that's getting a little peek. So something small, something quick. Still look, it still means look, but it's has a slight different definition. And then the last one is, it is not polite to, we wouldn't use look because it's not polite to look at someone. That's a little weird. Or peek at someone, because we look at people all day, so it's not really, those don't really fit. But like staring at someone, then like then that fits, that context fits, because you really shouldn't stare at people for very long because it sometimes makes them uncomfortable. And so shades of meaning are like synonyms, words that kind of mean the same thing, or they mean the same thing, but the way you use them is a little bit different. I wouldn't say like, if I said Tommy was coming to the board, or walking to the board, I wouldn't replace that with like Tommy was sneaking to the board, even though they're sneaking and walking. Both parts of, they're both walking, but there's a little difference in sneaking. Sneaking means something, he's trying to hide something or trying to be secretive, which is very different than just plain walking. So you kind of have to think, how is the word used correctly in the sentence that makes sense with what that word is? So what I want you to do now is go and do your Reader's Notebook page on shades of meaning, and I will see you next week.